Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, my name is Michael, the ChiCityYaker. I appreciate you for joining me in this video where we're going to talk about Leadcore. And if you don't know this already, Leadcore is one of the most effective ways to target salmon and trout out on Lake Michigan, or really the Great Lakes for that matter. So whether you're in a big boat, small boat, or as we're going to talk about Leadcore as it relates to kayak fishing, it's going to be really good, and it's something that you're going to want to add to your arsenal if you haven't already done so. So for those of you that don't or are not currently using Leadcore, I think you're going to find the information in this very valuable. It's going to cover some of the basics that you need to know, and if you're going to get into this kind of fishing. And for those of you that have already been using Leadcore for a while, I got stuff in here for you as well. A couple more advanced things, especially as it relates to adding multiple lines, Leadcore lines out into your spread, and deploying it all and everything like that. So before we get out on the water, quick reminder guys, throw the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you enjoy Lake Michigan kayak fishing content. If you need any of the gear that I am using and talking about in this video, you can look down below on the link from my Amazon storefront. You can find it there, as well as at Lake Michigan Angler. If you need my detailed fishing reports as I go out, you can go to my Patreon link below to get those as well. And finally, I want to share with you guys, new to the channel, are super thanks. It's a cool way to support me as a content creator here. If you find one video in particular very useful, or any of the things that I'm doing useful, you can send a super thanks through, whether it's $1 or whatever. All of it helps to fund what I'm doing here as I create content and try to educate you guys and entertain you guys with all things kayak fishing Lake Michigan. So with that being said, let's get out here and talk about Leadcore.
All right, so we're out on the water. As you can see here, we got some lines set up. But today I really want to kind of focus on Leadcore, and it's just really effective out of the kayak. I mean, it's effective in general, whether you're boating or in a kayak or whatever. But in a kayak, it's really good. And a lot of the reasoning why I think it's especially good in the kayak is because we're on this small vessel. The waves impact your kayak a lot more than, say, a big boat, right? We're bouncing a lot more, we're moving, our momentum's, is fluctuating a lot more, especially if you're in a pedal-driven kayak. Even with me having a motor in mine, it still fluctuates, because if I hit the current, it slows down, the motor's got to pick up, so you get those moments of slowing down, speeding up, and all of that adds additional movement to the lure that you're using, whether it's a spoon. In this case, we're going to be using some spoons. I love spoons on Leadcore. They just really out of the kayak are just phenomenal. And because you'll have the natural flutter of a spoon in this instance, doing the wobbling action, and when you factor in the movement of the boat and you're speeding up and slowing down naturally, on top of that, with the Leadcore, and what makes Leadcore so effective is that you have the lead sheath, right? And what happens is you let that line out, it undulates in the water. Think of, like, say, a snake, for instance, how it kind of just subtly moves as it's kind of skirting around. We've all seen those snakes, how they move. Think about the Leadcore kind of doing the same thing. It undulates in the water with the current, and so now you have this very three-dimensional presentation, because not only you have the natural action of the lure, right, say a spoon here, doing this, but now you've got it going all around, because the Leadcore is fluctuating all around, so you've got this action going all around, three-dimension, up, down, left, right, corner to corner, in addition to speeding up and falling back down. So you've got a very unique presentation that can really drive the fish wild, and you'll know that they're on that bite, man, when you put the Leadcore out and it's just getting smacked. I'm seeing a lot of fish here right around 15 feet, and so we're gonna start off with my 3-color Leadcore. This year I've added a 3-color specific rod setup here. If you're gonna get started with Leadcore in the kayak, I definitely suggest just do a full 10-color Leadcore. And the reason for that is when you have a full 10 colors, you can go 1 color all the way through 10 if you wanted to. Now I know in a lot of boat situations they'll have specific colors. They'll have a 2-color, a 3-color, a 5, a 7, a 10, so on and so forth. We don't have that luxury out of a kayak. So if you're gonna do Leadcore, just go with a 10-color. You're going to want to put it on a 30 size, or in this case, I have a Okuma cold water, so this is a 3. I'm sorry, this is a 203. However, for a 10 color, you're going to go with the 353 with the 30 size. That's going to give you enough capacity on there for you to go ahead and have some backing, right? You want a main line of braid on there. I would go with 30-pound braid for this application, and then you're going to put on your 10 colors. And then again, when you're fishing, you can decide, you want to do 2 colors, you want to do 3, 5, whatever variation, you can do it with that one rod. So it's very practical out of a kayak to do this, which is why I'll suggest doing that. Now, as you get a little more advanced, you can add another one, and this year I did add another one, and that's why I'm going with a 3 color. I think 3 color is really good because if you're going to add to your arsenal on the kayak, what this offers me is the opportunity to, in the spring, like right now, fish within those first 3 colors, 5, 10, or 15 feet. 3 colors is a really sweet spot in the spring because these fish are not very deep, 10, 15 feet or above. That's where these spring coho and these browns are going to be sitting in because the water's still really, really cold. So we don't need to work really, really deep. Then as we progress into the summertime, when fish gets deeper and the colder water's down below, this then becomes my SWR, or my modified SWR rig, as I mentioned before in the video. Out of the kayak, we'll put on a torpedo weight, and this becomes a secret weapon rig out of the kayak. And then I can drop it down, say 40 feet, along with the 3 colors. Then we're fishing, let's see, that'd be 55 feet, if I get my math correct there, public schools, you know. So I can work that, and we get the benefit of the Leadcore undulating in there, and I'll run that with the spoon. So let's go ahead and get started here. We're marking a lot of fish down there. No bites just yet. I don't expect them to really bite. At this point, we're going to try and work our way out in a little bit of open water near shore. So let's go ahead and start off here. We're going to throw in the spoon. We're going to chuck it back here. Really important, if you're going to do this, that you want to make sure you set your other rods out first. This is, you know, what we're doing now is more advanced kayak fishing here. So if you're a beginner, you know, you can kind of take a look at how we're doing it here. This takes practice. If you're going to start doing this, honestly, what I would say to do is set some lines out. Don't put anything on it. Just send it out naked, because you don't want to tangle the lures up. And kind of just get familiar with setting up your spread. You're going to need planers to do this, because you don't want to have your lines in just without any kind of planer to separate them, because when you do turn, if you turn incorrectly, if there's a current when you turn, it's going to blow all your lines together, and it is going to be a complete mess. So when we're going to run the Leadcore with another spread, it's going to be my last line that I'm setting out here, and I have the other 2 lines set out on my planers. I'm running coho rigs on them right now, and we're going to kind of see what they want. We're going to start off with some coho rigs, then we're going to probably move into some cranks. We're going to kind of mix it up. Spoon should be effective. I suspect that we'll probably get some bites off the 3 color. So we're just going to let it out right now. I'm letting it straight off the back. We're going to run this one straight behind me. That's where I want it to be at. We got these other lines off to the sides doing their own thing. And we'll get this going, and we'll talk more about setting up your Leadcore here in a second. Leadcore set out. We got all our lines ready to go, and the trolling has begun. Now, I did bring out my 10 color rod out as well, and what we're going to end up doing is seeing if the 3 colors starts getting a lot of action more than anything else. I can break out that other Leadcore and replicate what I'm doing with the Leadcore. And so that's why I brought it out for today. Or if I want to go a little bit deeper, I can let off some more colors without having to necessarily break out the big old, torpedo weights, which I do have. But for this time of year, again, don't necessarily need to use them. These fish are generally in the top 15 feet of the water column. So we should hopefully get into something as we kind of break out into the open water. It's where I think more of the fish are going to be at. Now that we talked about Leadcores kind of in a general sense, let's go ahead and start talking about, for those of you that are going to want to get into more advanced stuff, how to set them up when you're going to run 2 of them. So in this case, I got the 3 color, and then I've got my 10 color, and I'm going to share with you now how I'm going to go ahead and set these out here, because with these long lines, you got to be careful how you're setting them up. You don't want them to get tangled up when you're turning. So there's a way to go about it to lessen the chances of this happening. So With that being said, let me show you what I'm going to do here. I'm going to put the 10 color here first, off to the side for a second. I've got spoons on both of them, and not much is going on fishing-wise today. Mostly came out here to do this kind of more of an educational kind of video for you guys. Do this. So we're going to go ahead and set our 3 color out. We're going to start letting the line out, and we're going to kind of hand feed it to get it going. Because it's a spoon, spoon doesn't really pull a lot of drag in the water. So when you're putting spoons out with your Leadcores, you're gonna have to kind of help it out to get out there, and do it ever so, carefully, because you don't want to strip the line too fast off of here and it binds up and anything like that. So just kind of be careful and pay attention to what you're doing. Kind of get it going. Once you get that first color out, it starts to kind of get a little bit easier to just kind of feed itself. So we're just gonna keep on hand feeding the line out here. We're gonna get all 3 colors out, which is gonna effectively put us down about 15 feet of water working this spoon. So we're gonna keep doing this. All right, so we've almost got all of our 3 colors out here. There we go. Now we've gotten to our main line, so I'm gonna let a little extra out, and boom, we're gonna go ahead and grab it, and we are gonna go ahead and put it on a planer here. And we're going to get it away from us out of the kayak. It's going to help to lessen the odds of this Leadcore, the 3 color, tangling up with anything with the 10 color I'm about to let out. Although we're not going to let out all 10 colors. So we'll set that out. And we'll let out another 10 feet of line. Set it up. There it goes. And that's the order I'm going to do it in first. I'm going to let that one off to the side, get that one set up off to the side. The reason why I set this board out first is because when you're first letting it out, it's going to pull behind you. If you set your other rod, your 10 color, if I set the 10 color out first, there's the chances with the current, me not paying attention or the direction or whatever the case may be, that those lines can wrap up. And Leadcore wrapping with itself or any other Leadcore line is the worst. So you don't want to have to deal with that. So let out I let out the 3 color out first to get it up and out of the way, off to the side, so we've got a good amount of space between it. Now we're gonna go ahead and take the 10 color here, and we're gonna let out some line here. And I'm thinking we're gonna work probably 4 or 5 colors on this one. So we're gonna work about 20, 25 down. So we're gonna just start letting this line out here. And it's important that when you do this, you want to do your best to kind of go in a straight line. Because if you don't do it, you're not paying attention to where your lines are at. And if there's a cross current going on underwater, it'll blow those lines out. And it'll get all the way kind of jacked up. There we go. Now we've got those lines out. Now the hard part is actually getting fish to bite. All right, guys, so we kind of did a practical application showing you how we set those lines and all that stuff. And we're back at the boat ramp, and want to cap off this video by kind of going over the actual configurations here, or rather like what I'm pairing these reels. Now, again, as I mentioned before in the video, when I'm going with 10 colors, I'm looking at a 303 cold water is what I use. You can use anything like a 30 size equivalent from other reel manufacturers. You can get the 10 colors on there. Remember, we don't need as much backing. You never really should ever run down to the very end on your main line. So you don't need a huge amount, hence the reason why you don't need a bigger size reel. You can get away with a 30 size, or if you get a cold water, a 303D will do you just fine. And on with the 10 color, I pair it with a medium action rod. Because I'm running these normally straight off the back, this is one of the few times where a 7-foot rod is perfectly fine for me. I generally like longer rods personally for a lot of the other fish I'm setting off on the sides. But because these are being run straight off the back, or if I do running off the side of my rod holders, it's on a planer board, so it'll get the line out and away. So I can go with a 7-foot. I'm using the Ugly Stick GX2. Gets the job done, very affordable, can take a beating, and suits the Leadcore rod or reel perfectly fine. I like it for this. Now with the 3 color setup here. Remember, I'm using this in the summertime for my secret weapon rig, modified secret weapon rig. If you are not familiar with what that is, I'll link to it up above so you can see that video. But because in the summertime I'm gonna drop this down and put a torpedo on it, I want some more oomph in the rod. So I'm still here with the Ugly Stick GX2, only this is the medium heavy action. It's got way stiffer in here backbone, so that when I put that torpedo weight on there, the 16-ounce torpedo, it'll be able to hold it up just fine. That's the only kind of caveat that I would point out on my 3-color. It's a stiffer rod for that application. When I'm using it now in the spring with the 3 colors, same thing. Normally I'm running it off the back, or if I'm running off the rod holder, it's on a planer. So 7 foot is just fine and it gets the job done. And the difference with the reel, because it's a 3-color, I downsized the reel. This is a 203D Coldwater Kuma. You can use a 20 size reel equivalent in other manufacturers. You kind of get the idea here. And then just spool it up with your mainline braid. I use 30-pound braid, high vis on both for my mainline, and then go straight to the Leadcore. Oh, and one last thing I will point out, kind of like how we terminate this or connect it all up. We'll run the mainline braid. We'll go to the Leadcore, however many colors you can put on. In this case, it's my 3-color. Then I'll terminate it with a bead and then a swivel. And then from the swivel is when I'll make my leader line. And generally, I'm pulling 20-pound fluoro leader on here. Maybe about 3, no more than 4 feet is what I use mostly. I have no issues with that. And then that's the whole configuration. And that's the same way I set those up on both of my Leadcore. So a crash course on Leadcore, a little bit more advanced if you're planning to run 2, which is what I wanted to show you guys for today. And if you are in the market of adding Leadcore to your kayak setup arsenal, then, you know, again, I would recommend go with the 10 colors. So it gives you more flexibility to run however many colors you want. And then as you get more advanced, you can add another setup and kind of do what I'm doing right now if you like. If you're looking for any of the gear that I talked about, you can look down in the links below. They're all right there on my Amazon storefront. You can check it all out. And that'll be it for this video. Hopefully you found it useful. If you did, throw it a like, subscribe to the channel, share it with a friend, and I will see you guys next time.